dann super dufte neuen Song aus dem Sägezahnzyklus und all diejenigen, die schon gegessen haben und ihre weißen Getränke rumduckeln, sollten endlich mal ihre Nahrung wägen und sich auf die Tanzfläche bewegen. Und nun geht es los.
You are listening to the red hot Däs Bundesliga Show here on the Lock Betting podcast. You can follow Lock Betting on X at LockBettingX. That's at LockBettingX. On that X account, we post out free plays, but most significantly, we post out the monthly P&L, and it's always the pinned tweet for the previous month. At the moment, you can see the month of August, which was our 123rd month in a row of transparent track profit, and that will soon be replaced by the month of September, which is guaranteed at this point to be the 124th month in a row of transparent track profit. Even if we have the worst weekend in the history of the service, we have absolutely obliterated this month. We have US Open futures at the front end. We have transfer window futures at the front end as well. We've made a blistering start to the soccer season, and we have 3 out of 3 winning weeks in the NFL. An incredible month for the month of September. And we look to do it all over again in October. If you want to sign up to the service, head over to lockbetting.com. If you have questions, hit me up on that X account at LockBettingX. That's at LockBettingX. Let's continue on with this edition of Däs Bundesliga Show, getting this out early because we want to get the Friday game in on the show. Because it involves Borussia Dortmund, always an important game, whoever Borussia Dortmund are playing on the slate. They travel to Hoffenheim, where they are the 5-4 favourites to win the game. It's 14-5 here on the draw, and Hoffenheim here are the 7-4 underdogs. You'd expect Dortmund to be at a shorter price than this, but they've had a patchy start to the season and are trying to find some consistency here at this point. But this is a game that they usually win. This is a fixture that Dortmund have dominated down the years. They have triumphed in each of the last 4 meetings, and they probably should have enough to beat Hoffenheim here once again. Dortmund have only lost 1 of their last 24 Bundesliga battles, and Borussia Dortmund are unbeaten in their opening 5 Bundesliga games. Both teams, though, have scored in 4 of Hoffenheim's last 5 league outings, and therefore it's quite likely that Dortmund will need a couple of goals here in order to get over the line. We have 2 free-flowing attacks on show here, so that shouldn't really be a worrying issue. Some people don't like certain kickoff times. The Friday night kickoff has been a bit of a graveyard for big teams. The 12:30 kickoff in the Premier League has been a bit of a graveyard for big teams. But I'm just going to take the team total here. So I'm not going to take too many crazy risks. I'm simply going to take Borussia Dortmund to eclipse their team total, which is set at over 1.5 goals. It is juiced at that price, at the price of 10-13. But I still like Dortmund to get the job done. I'm not willing to bet on them here on the money line. I'm not willing to bet on over 2.5 goals because it's too juiced. I'm not willing to tack on the BTTS because even that comes up to a price that I think is too short. Ultimately, I think the best value here is on Dortmund to score a couple of goals against the team that they've had the measure of over the years. So your selection here for the Friday night game is Borussia Dortmund's team total of over 1.5 goals at the price of 10-13 here for this one. Up next, we move over to Saturday and we look at our favourite team who have been an ATM here on Däs Bundesliga Show so far this season. Week after week, we've been cashing the lock, and don't be surprised to hear about this one again at the end of this show as well, as Bayer Leverkusen travel to Mons, where they are rightfully the 4-7 favourites. It's 18-5 on the draw, and it's 5-1 here on Mons. there is value just simply on Leverkusen here on the money line. I could take them at 4-7. And whilst it is a short juice price, I'd be absolutely fine with giving that out because it is under the self-imposed -200 threshold. But I'm going to give you a little bit more here. First of all, I do think they'll win the game. Mons are rock bottom of the table. They haven't got a single win so far this season. They've got 1 draw and 4 defeats. Picking up just 1 point so far, scoring just 4 goals and conceding 14. So they're averaging nearly 3 goals a game conceded, which is very, very poor when you're coming up against a hot team here like Leverkusen, who, as I said, have just been free money. So I'm going to take Leverkusen and I'm going to tack on the over 1.5 goals. And obviously, you can't cash over 1.5 unless Leverkusen win the game. There's no way for it to be over 1.5 unless Leverkusen score 2, because the only other result is a 1-1 draw. So ultimately, it is Leverkusen's team total or just the over 1.5, whatever way you want to look at it, for there to be over 1.5 goals in this game and Leverkusen to win. Another way to look at it would be Leverkusen to win this game by any scoreline that isn't 1-0. So I think we're pretty safe, and this moves us away from the 4-7. Instead, give us a better price of 7-10 here for the selection. We're going against a Mons team who have lost 3 straight. We're going for a Leverkusen team who have no losses in 10. We're going against a Mons team who have no wins in 5, no clean sheets in 5, but who have seen over 2.5 goals cash in 8 of their last 10. They've also seen BTTS in 4 of the last 5, as have Leverkusen, which is why they may need 2 goals to win this game. Leverkusen have seen over 2.5 goals in 10 of their last 10 matches, but they have started strong as they have won 8 out of the last 10 first half. They've scored first in 9 out of the last 10 games. And in this particular fixture, Mons have no clean sheet in 12 straight games, and Leverkusen have scored the first goal in 9 out of 10 games. This Mons team will not have the confidence the way they're playing to come back from a goal down. And I think Leverkusen get off to that fast start. Again, this isn't a look-ahead spot for them really, because Leverkusen don't play all the way till Thursday. They should have that Europa League group comfortably in hand as well, because they are by far better than the other teams in it. When you're looking at the likes of Mulder being their main opponents, in my opinion, in their group. So we're going to take Leverkusen to win. We're going to tack on the over 1.5 goals here, and that gives you the price of 7-10 here for this one. Up next, we're going to jump over to the game of the week in Däs Bündesliga at the Däs Bündesliga. And it's RB Leipzig at home to Bayern Munich, where Leipzig here are the 11-4 home dogs. It's 3-1 on the draw, and Bayern here are the 10-11 favourites. Bit of a banana skin spot here for Bayern Munich. I would not be wanting to back them here as 10-11 favourites, given that they got battered by RB Leipzig at the end of last season. It almost cost them the league title, and that was on their own patch. And then they got battered in the Super Cup as well in the pre-season, or in the lead up to this season. It's obviously not quite pre-season because it is a trophy, but it is still pre-season because it's not regular season. But ultimately, they got dicked. So that's the most significant thing here, and convincingly so. So it's very difficult to take Bayern, and I won't. I'm going to do something that I do rarely, although I did do this on the EPL show as well, so it's not quite as rare as it should be. But I'm going to take the same selection that I took for Tottenham and Liverpool, and that is over 3.25 goals here for this game at the price of 5-6 -120. I explained on the show what that means. If you get 4 goals, you win. If you get 3 goals, you get half a push, not a full push that you get on over 3. And if there's 1, 2 or no goals, then you end up losing this selection entirely. So we need 4+ in order to cash. We need 3 to get half our money back, but it would still be a loss. And that is my selection here for the game. Harry Kane comes into this one in red-hot form. He netted a hat-trick for Bayern Munich last weekend as they demolished Bochum 7-0, and they are in good touch going into this game and to contribute towards the scoring. But Leipzig themselves, they have Bayern Munich's number, and they also come into this game in good goal-scoring form. Bayern have a decent road record overall here at the Red Bull Arena, winning on 2 of their last 3 visits. But I'm more likely to lean towards the goals here, given the fact that Leipzig have actually beaten them in back-to-back games. So we're going to take over 3.25 goals here in the Asian goal line market as our main play. This is just simply because of the data. Don't trust either team to win. Don't even like to take Leipzig on the double chance market. I would lean that way, but before winning these two back-to-back games against Bayern, Leipzig had only won once in the previous 16 head-to-head meetings with Bayern. And Bayern are unbeaten this season in the league so far, winning 4 of their first 5 games. The goals are better. One side has contributed 3 or more goals in 5 of the last 6 meetings. So one side alone, historically, would get us very, very close to cashing this selection just by themselves if history repeats itself, because we would only need 1 goal from their counterparts in order to cash. So very high on the over here. I don't do it very often. I've now done it in back-to-back podcasts, but I'm very happy to take it here. I'll be very surprised if we only see 2 or even 3 goals in this game. The game of the week in Däs Bündesliga on Saturday between RB Leipzig and Bayern Munich. Long show already so far, even though we've only covered a few games, but we've been very, very detailed with those games. So I'm going to finish up and I'm just going to cover one more. And if there are any more strong leans that come my way through extra research, I will end up putting them on the European show. That's what it's there for. So I'm going to finish up with the main game on Sunday, which is Freiburg versus Augsburg, where Freiburg are the 4-5 home favourites. It's 3-1 on the draw and it's 18-5 here on Augsburg. Freiburg had a very, very strong home record last season, so I'm going to take them to get back on track here in this game. Freiburg have won their last 5 Bundesliga meetings with Augsburg, and they've done it by an aggregate scoreline of 14-2. And at least 3 goals were scored in the last 4 games. So again, this could be a goal-heavy game. If you're not happy with the line by itself, but of 45 minus 125, for me, that's a fine line. I'm willing to take money line. If you're looking for something bigger, you could add goals on to this total. Augsburg have failed to win have failed to win once on the road in this calendar year, so 2023, losing 12 of their 15 away Bundesliga games since last October. And as I mentioned, Freiburg were very, very strong at home last season. And I'm happy to take Freiburg to get themselves back on track here in this game. So it's a simple selection. Freiburg on the money line at the price of 45 minus 125. Closing out with your Bundesliga show for the week, we are going to go to the tried and trusted. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this has been a cash cow ATM for us so far this season. And we will be taking them once again. It's Bayer Leverkusen on the money line with the total of over 1.5 cashed on. This gets us away from Leverkusen on the money line at 4-7 and instead gives us the price of 7-10 for our selection. It's for all the reasons I already outlined, but I'm happy to outline them again because I get to talk about how good Bayer Leverkusen are. Their opponents have lost 3 straight, whilst our team, Leverkusen, have no losses in 10. Mons have no win in 5 and no clean sheet in 5, but have seen over 2.5 goals cash in 8 of the last 10 because most of those goals have been going in against them. Whilst they've also seen BTTS cash in 4 of the last 5, but so have Leverkusen. Leverkusen have seen over 2.5 goals in 10 out of their last 10, but they've been scoring most of those goals, and they've also won the first half in 8 of their last 10, whilst being the first team to score in 9 of their last 10. They've also scored the first goal 9 times in the last 10 occasions in this head-to-head fixture as well. And if they do that again on Saturday, you can guarantee we will be en route to cashing with this team once again. So to reiterate, once again, your lock here on the show for this week is Bayer Leverkusen on the money line with over 1.5 goals tacked on, giving us the price of 7-10. That's it for me, guys. Good luck with all your bets as always, and thanks for listening.